How to become a confident software. 6 critical steps to build your confidence as a software engineer is an article written by Franco Fernando on the website The Polymathic Engineer. So, these seems to be the 6 steps. Learn a programming language well, write unit tests and use CI, make refactoring a habit, pair with people, read books, teach what you learn. Hi friends, welcome to the 134th issue of the Polymathic Engineer. It takes time to feel more confident as a software engineer. It took me over 5 years to feel comfortable in my abilities, and I made many mistakes along the way. When I reflect on it now, I realize I could have significantly accelerated this journey if I had followed a more structured approach from the beginning. This week, I would like to share some advice based on what I've learned and what I've seen other successful engineers do. And there's this advertisement about Mentor by OutSystems. Use your AI-powered assistant for the full SLDC. We'll skip it here. Number 1, learn a programming language well. Knowing a lot about a programming language makes everything else easy. When you understand one language, its syntax, idioms, best practices, and common patterns, you develop problem-solving skills that apply to other languages. Early in my career, I decided to focus on C++. I spent time learning not only how to write code that works, but also why some methods were better than others. I learned how to handle memory, how to think about performance, and how the small changes between ways of doing the same thing can make a difference. The benefits became clear when I later moved to other languages like C#, Java, and Python. I could focus on learning the new syntax and features instead of struggling with basic programming concepts. Choosing which language to master first matters less than committing to the process of learning it. Pick a language that's relevant to the type of work you want to do, then go deep. And as relatively a beginner who's kind of getting into this field, and who's interested in the back-end and front-end work of the building a website or building an application, I think JavaScript is probably my language, and that's including the frameworks like React. But I think C++ is an excellent choice. And I think this is a good advice. I always like the advice of doing one thing and doing it well. And I always find that as well. If I'm playing music, if I'm switching instruments every week, I'm not gonna get better at it. But if I stick with the guitar for several years and then I switch to another instrument, that's gonna be easier because I have a good understanding of music already. Like if you look at musicians, they're often good at several instruments. And if you look at athletes, if they're football players, they're also good at other sports. So this makes sense to me. Write unit tests and use CI. Writing unit tests might feel like extra work when you're starting, but it's one of the best investments you can make in your confidence as a developer. Unit tests give you proof that your code works the way you think it does. When you write a test that passes, you know that a specific feature is working correctly. When you make changes later, the same test will tell you if you accidentally broke something. Continuous integration makes unit tests even more powerful. Continuous integration automatically runs your tests every time you make changes to the code. This way, you know right away if something goes wrong, instead of finding out weeks later when someone else tries to use your code. The confidence boost from having good tests is enormous. When you need to refactor complex code or add new features to existing systems, tests give you the safety net to make changes boldly. You know that if you break something important, the tests will catch it right away. This is something that I need to be better at. Like it says, writing unit tests always feel like extra work and I'm wasting time and not making progress. But I should be better at it because I always am grateful when I've done it. Make refactoring a habit. Refactoring improves the structure and readability of your code without changing what it does. Making this a regular habit will dramatically improve your confidence because you will always be working with code that is clean and easy to understand. Clean code is easier to debug, extend, and maintain. When you come back to the code you wrote months ago, you will understand what it does instead of being confused by it. When you need to add new features, it's easier to see where those features should go. The important thing is to make refactoring a normal part of your work, not something you do occasionally. When you are done implementing a feature, spend a few minutes cleaning up the code. Look for functions that could be broken up, variable names that are unclear, and duplicated code that could be extracted into reusable functions. Learn to use the refactoring tools in your IDE. Most development environments can change the name of variables, extract methods, and rearrange structure of code instantly. Refactoring is quick and safe with them because they update all references for you. Don't wait until code becomes a complete mess before cleaning it up. I think this is of course a good advice. My struggling with this is always like, how much do you prioritize refactoring versus keep building? Because I think there's a fine line somewhere. You don't want to do too much of one thing over the other. Pair with people. Pairing with other developers is an excellent way to improve your skills and build confidence. When you work with experienced engineers, you see how they approach problems, what tools they use, and how they think through tough challenges. At the beginning of my career, I was afraid to pair with others because I was afraid about looking incompetent. This was wrong. I learned faster by pairing than by doing any other task alone. Sitting with other developers and talking through code helped me understand not just what to do, but why to do it. Pairing also lets you see things from different perspectives. Every developer has their own way of solving problems, and pairing lets you learn multiple approaches instead of just your own. You might discover keyboard shortcuts, ways to fix bugs, or design patterns that you would not have found on your own. However, pairing is not only about coding, it also works for architectural discussions and problem-solving sessions. The idea is to learn how other developers think, not only how they write code. As you gain experience, remember to pair with more junior developers too. Teaching others also helps you understand things better and see problems in new ways. I've never really done this before, and I really like the idea of it because I do learn a lot from others. And right now I'm trying to switch from using Visual Studio Code to NeoVim, and I really wish I am paired with someone who already uses NeoVim, because there are a lot of things that just want to see how the workflow, what others do for workflow and things like that. And I don't really find good videos on it. I find a lot of videos on how to set it up and things like that, but I don't really find videos on how people use it every day. And I think an IDE like an editor like NeoVim would be super helpful because it's a lot different from what a lot of people are used to. Like Visual Studio Code, there's everything in there. The file structure is already there. Whatever you expect from other IDEs are already there. But like NeoVim is such a different beast, and so for the very first time, like myself, it's, I don't know, feels like I would appreciate if there was a pair who already is used to using NeoVim and could show me the ropes. Number 5, read books. Reading technical books is an underrated way to build more confidence as a software engineer. You can learn a lot from books that you can't learn from quick tutorials or Stack Overflow replies or ChatGPT. More important than how many books you read is how you read them. Earlier in my career, I made a mistake by skimming books quickly, but this approach didn't help much. Now I focus on reading fewer books but taking detailed notes and applying what I learned. 3 or 4 books per year are enough if you read them correctly. I prefer books that cover fundamental concepts rather than specific technologies. Software architecture, algorithm, system design, and clean coding practices will serve you throughout your career. Some books that had a huge impact on my confidence include Clean Code, Design Patterns, and Design Data Intensive Application. These books taught me not just technique, but ways of thinking about software that made me a better engineer. Number 6, teach what you learn. Teaching others is one of the most effective ways to solidify your own understanding and build confidence in your skills. If you can explain a concept clearly to someone else, you know you truly understand it. You can start by sharing what you have learned through blog posts, presentations, or mentoring junior developers. You don't need to be an expert to teach, you just need to know slightly more than just the person you're helping. Someone who recently learned the concept can explain it better than an expert because they remember what it was like not to understand it. Teaching forces you to organize your thoughts and fill in gaps in your knowledge. If you try to explain something and realize you can't do it clearly, that's a sign you need to learn more about that topic. The best engineers I know are also great teachers. They can take complex problems, explain them in easy terms, and help others understand ideas that are hard to grasp. You don't just naturally have this skill, you have to work at it. I think this is a really interesting post, and yeah, I mean, I agree with all the points, and this is something that I should do. I think everyone should do. And some of the things I already do, like read books, but a lot of things that I need to work more on. But yeah, I wonder how much, like for example, with reading books, I wonder how much the author dedicates time to read. I dedicate about 20 to 30 minutes per day of reading, but my goal is to do it every day, but I don't do it every day. Maybe 5 times a week I do that. So yeah, with the posts like this, I always wonder, how do you dedicate time? Because like there's working, there's you have to work out, there's family time, there's you're eating, and you have to relax too. So yeah, that's always something that I wonder, because there are millions of things to do and limited time. So yeah, that's what I always wonder. Thanks, guys.